Let's get to Denver Post Broncos beat writer Troy Renck on the phone right now. And Troy, a great article today in the Denver Post talking about this team. And we talked about it last night here on 7 Sports Extra. We don't know how to feel about this. Do we feel like the Tebow 6-game win streak? Is this real? Do we feel like Josh McDaniels was 6-0 in 09? Is this going to last? I mean, does this feel like a strange kind of, is this thing going to keep going this way, the way it is?
No, it's unlikely because the schedule is going to get tougher, so they're going to have to play better. I would suggest it has more roots than the examples you gave of Tebow and Josh McDaniels' 6-0 start, because they have a quarterback who has a track record of playing well. They've just got to figure out how to make this offense fit Peyton Manning better, and where they eliminate the turnovers. If they just cut down the turnovers, they'll still be able to beat good teams. But right, you can't continue to turn the ball over 2 and 3 times a week and beat the Patriots and beat the Packers, even if you're at home. You know, they have games coming up against the Colts, Patriots, and Packers, and Bengals still left on the schedule. And so they're going to have to play better to beat those teams. But you should feel good about 6-0. It's much better to have problems at 6-0 than like the Seahawks at 2-4.
Well, you could be in Seattle, you could be in Indy, you could be in Cleveland right now. So,
it was. Troy, as we head into this bye week, I know there's a lot of questions. We always talk about the bye is great because it allows all the bumps and bruises to heal. But for an offense that just hasn't seemed to get in sync yet, does this help them? Or, if you're Gary Kubiak, would you rather have them practicing all week in trying to put this together? We know these players are going to have a break. Is this going to help or hurt this offense? I guess that's my question.
Well, I do think it's going to help because it gives them a chance to step back and self-scout, analyze what works, what doesn't, and do that without having the pressure of preparing for a game. So sit back, analyze what is working, what's not, an honest self-evaluation, and then start implementing an offense that's going to be obviously more effective. And yesterday they were decent, especially on the ground. They made a lot of progress, but it was the Browns, and they had arguably the worst run defense in football entering the game. But they need to figure out how to get this offense more comfortable for Manning. Manning talked about it yesterday, guys. He said, hey, Coach Kubiak and I are totally committed to the cause. That cause is the Super Bowl. But they've got to find a way to make Manning more comfortable. I'm not saying more productive, just more comfortable so he's not turning the ball over. The easy solution is to go to the shotgun. But you can't go to too much hurry up. Everyone wants last year's offense. That would eventually compromise the defense because the drives are too short. And the defense, you'd put them on the field 25, 30 more plays. That's not fair to the defense.
Exactly. And look, you've got things that are wrong with this team that can be correctable. You talk about penalties, 8 penalties yesterday, so, personal fouls, roughing the passer kind of thing. You're talking about getting the offensive line healthy and get back. That's correctable as well. Peyton, stop throwing picks. That's correctable.
Seems easy
so
enough.
There are things that are wrong right now that can get better. It's not like this is the way it's got to stay because you don't have talent. Things can be corrected, Troy.
Well, that's the thing. They're 6-0, and they're far from perfect. So that, like you said, Lionel, that's the good news is, they could get the tight ends more involved in the offense. Demaryius Thomas cuts down on his drops, and all of a sudden he's even more productive. Manning stops throwing the costly interception. Once in a while you're going to take a chance to get a pick, but the first interception of the game and the last one both could have cost them the game. Certainly the last one felt like in the stadium yesterday it was going to cost them the game. The Browns needed 5 to 7 yards, kick a field goal, game over. So those are the mistakes that they've got to eliminate. And I do believe there's a way to get this offense more comfortable for Manning while also still able to run the ball. I do think there's compromise in here somewhere, and they do have a chance to reassess. And like you said, get the offensive line healthy. A week for Evan Mathis will help. Get Ty Sambrailo back in the mix.
Right.
They've got some things that are going to improve over the next couple of weeks entering the Packers game. And remember, the Packers are hardly playing perfect as well. They probably should have lost to the Chargers yesterday at home.
Nobody's perfect. That's the bottom line.
Well, look, as we look ahead, I like to say these first 6 games kind of like the appetizer, right? I mean, the combined records of these first 6 teams, 10 and 26.
Right.
We're getting to the meat of the schedule. We know this Packers team is solid. I mean, yesterday the Chargers gave them a game. Packers win that thing, but you're talking about another 6-0 team. We know Aaron Rodgers is going to come here We know what he's capable of. This is a measuring stick. We're going to find out in 2 Sundays how good this Broncos team really is, don't you think?
I would agree that the Packers are one of the top 3 teams in the league. The Patriots are number 1 for me, the champ, till they're knocked off. They're number 1. And I would say Packers are second, and probably then Bengals, then Broncos. The Bengals have to prove it. I mean, they haven't won a playoff game since 1991. But based on how they've played this season, they've clearly been a top 3 team. But you're right. You're going to figure out who this Bronco team is over these next 10 games because the schedule gets a lot tougher. And again, it includes the Patriots, Packers, Colts, Bengals. Those 4 games, can they go 3-1 in those 4? If not, if so, and one of those is against the Patriots, they might be looking at home field throughout the playoffs. Go 2-2, and then they're probably going to have to win a road playoff game.
Right.
So the Packers is a great measuring stick, and the fact that the Broncos' strength is their defense makes it a fascinating game. Can they neutralize Aaron Rodgers?
All right, Troy.
Next question.
Well, thanks so much, man. Gary Kubiak talks in about an hour from now, so we'll get the latest on the injuries to Shane Ray, Emmanuel Sanders, find out what's going on, and then the bye week, then the Packers. Troy, we'll talk to you later, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Take it easy, Troy.
You got it, guys. See you.